Honoring the legacy of an iconic Blue Jays slugger, the one and only Joey Bats.
Please welcome back home on his special day, number 19, Jose Bautista.
Jose Bautista was added to the Toronto Blue Jays level of excellence today in an emotional ceremony. We will take you there. Plus,
I have 3 kids, single mom, and can't afford the groceries here.
after a week that saw grocery chain Metro report surging profits, thousands of workers continue their strike, calling for a livable wage. And
me and my mentor definitely clicked almost immediately.
Connecting Black and racialized girls with mentors in the community, we will take you to the Jean Augustine Center, where a new program has just launched.
This is CBC Saturday News.
We will get to those stories in just a moment, but we begin with a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Ontario near Peterborough. Videos like this posted on social media show the ping-pong-sized hail falling near Beaverton. Environment Canada is urging residents to go indoors if it's thundering. Meanwhile, north of Barrie, hundreds at the Boots and Hearts Music Festival were told to seek shelter as a severe weather system passed through that area. Sophia Kambalia joins us for our first look at your forecast. Sophia, you've been tracking some of this wild weather. What are you seeing?
Yeah, it's been a formidable low-pressure system that's been traversing southern Ontario all throughout the day. Here's a look at the current severe storm warnings, but they've been popping up really since the breakfast hour. A video of the possible water gust NATO that formed right near a paddle border near Wasaga Beach today. But the day started off much earlier, and it's ended off with a bang, and it is still going, folks. What you're looking at is some of that really large hail north and east of the city, 8 centimeters in size. That is incredibly potent and dangerous hail. Storm started early in the morning as far north as Owen Sound, and then around the breakfast hour reported tornado damage and a possible tornado being investigated northeast of Hamilton in the Caledonia area. Then a little bit of a reprieve from the active weather before around the lunch hour when that possible water gust NATO sparked up along the Huron shores. And then this storm, this really beefy storm, continued, and it's what prompted all the evacuations for the Boots and Hearts Music Festival that you just heard about there a moment ago. A lot of people in tents and campsites and trailers, some of the worst places to shelter out a really potent storm like this. That storm continued to strengthen, and that purple you see there is the hail core along with torrential rain, creating that massive hail. We are now still watching that same system on your doorstep in the Kingston area. Still hazards including torrential rain, really gusty winds, and still the possibility of more rotating storms for the next couple hours. We will track this more for you in the long range. Farah.
Can't get over the size of that hail. Thanks.
Yeah, 8 centimeters.
Crazy. Thanks so much, Sophia.
You're welcome.
To Ottawa now, where cleanup is still happening after heavy rains caused flash flooding in that city.
It was a lot of water, a lot.
There was so much rain that it popped off the lids off the sewers.
More than 75 millimeters of rain fell in just 6 hours on Thursday. The area was also hit by hail. The mess turned roads into canals. Many drivers were even forced to abandon their cars. And for some, even more trouble. In this bathroom, there was so much water pouring in. Well, you can see what happened. Ottawa has had a lot of extreme weather already this summer, including 3 tornadoes and several severe thunderstorms. Who can forget this dramatic moment in Toronto Blue Jays history? Jose Bautista's 3-run homer in the team's deciding playoff game against Texas back in 2015. It was part of a stellar career for Bautista in Toronto, and for that, he was honored today in a pre-game ceremony. Let us bring in Greg Ross, who was there as it all went down today. Greg, such a huge moment for Bautista and for Jays fans today.
Absolutely, Far. I mean, Jose Bautista, no stranger to the roar of the crowd here at the Rogers Centre throughout his playing career with the Blue Jays. Well, today, one more big cheer from the fans here at Rogers Centre as his name is added to the level of excellence for the Blue Jays, enshrining Jose Bautista's name amongst the greatest ever to wear a Blue Jays uniform. We've seen Jose Bautista wear his emotions on his sleeve as a player, very emotional player, but we saw a different kind of emotion from Jose Bautista this afternoon. Unemotional, Jose Bautista watched with his wife and 4 daughters as his name was unveiled on the Blue Jays' level of excellence at Rogers Centre. Moments later, he struggled to express gratitude.
And I want to thank the Blue Jays fans, the city of Toronto, and the whole country. It was an honor to play for you.
Welcome back, John Gibbons.
15 of Bautista's former coaches and teammates joined him on the field for the ceremony, many of them featured in a video tribute on the Jumbotron.
You guys have no idea how much this day means to me and my family.
There was one moment in the tribute that stood out, one of the most iconic in Blue Jays history, Bautista's home run in the 2015 American League Divisional Series, along with the iconic bat flip that followed.
That had to be one of the loudest crowd reactions of all time in sports history, and for him to be a part of that, you cannot replace those moments.
To do what he did in that moment on that stage is just, he's hit a lot of big home runs in his life, but that's what he'll be remembered for.
But Bautista did so much more in his 10 years in a Blue Jay uniform. In 2010, he set a record for the most home runs in a season by a Blue Jay with 54. He was a 6-time All-Star and an integral part of the Blue Jays' playoff runs in 2015 and 2016. Some say he put baseball back on the map in Toronto after several years of mediocrity following their World Series championships in the early 1990s.
He's the guy who was almost solely responsible for this team coming back into whatever got 50,000 people here every night. Absolutely, from the 54 home runs in 2010 to the bat flip to the 2 playoff teams. He was a major part.
Today, the Blue Jays gave away bobbleheads to fans commemorating the bat flip.
Yeah, we were at the bat flip game and it was incredible. Best sporting event I've ever been to.
It's amazing. It's the guy who inspired me to watch baseball in the first place. So seeing my favorite player go up there, it's amazing.
And now to see Bautista immortalized in Blue Jay history is just another special memory. Yeah, another interesting moment during that ceremony today as they were playing that video tribute. They show that bat flip home run from 2015 and the crowd inside Rogers Centre was cheering almost as if it was happening in real time, and just a huge round of applause there. And of course, Jose Bautista soaking it all in tears the entire time. As I said off the top, it's the kind of emotion we haven't seen from Jose Bautista very often. And it was interesting talking to some of his former teammates afterwards who said they had never seen him that emotional either. Again, just a special moment for Blue Jay fans and, of course, in the history of this team, Farah.
What an incredible moment to take in, Greg. Thanks so much. To some developing news tonight. 2 people are dead after a house fire in Vaughan this afternoon.
This was a wind-driven fire caused by, as today you see the winds blowing as hard as they are, caused the fire to move through the house, and as one firefighter called it, a blowtorch.
Emergency crews responded to calls for a townhouse on fire near Jane and Major Mackenzie around 2:30 p.m. Initial reports were that 2 elderly people were trapped inside the house. Vaughan Fire says the bodies of 2 individuals were recovered from the home. The Ontario Fire Marshal has been called in to investigate. And crews remain at the scene of yesterday's 6-alarm industrial fire in Etobicoke. This was a scene today. Firefighters are expected to continue their work for the next couple of days. Emergency crews were called to the area yesterday just before 1:15 a.m. When they got there, they found several tractor trailers on fire at the back of the building. More than 100 firefighters were battling the blaze. Luckily, no injuries were reported. And after yesterday's fire, the Toronto Wildlife Centre says some of the chemicals leaked into a nearby creek and has had an impact on some local wildlife. They've managed to capture 17 oiled ducks. The organization says some of them have already flown off, so they will need to be recaptured when they do reappear. Rescue teams have been in the area since yesterday looking for more birds. And police are still looking for 2 suspects in connection to a shooting near Black Creek Drive and Weston Road. It happened just before 8:30 p.m. Police say they found a man in his 20s at the scene suffering from a gunshot wound. He was rushed to a trauma center. Police say they are still searching for 2 men, also believed to be in their 20s. One was wearing jeans with a gray hoodie with a black face mask. The other is described as wearing all gray clothing. The suspect vehicle is a gray-colored sedan. Thousands of workers with the grocery chain Metro are continuing their strike across the GTA. Many saying they can't even afford to shop at their own workplace. They are calling for a livable wage, especially after the chain reported skyrocketing profits in the last quarter. As Patrick Swadden tells us, the strike could have ripple effects on the grocery sector.
What do we want? Livable wages. When do we want it? Now!
2 weeks in, and these workers aren't giving up the fight.
This is the worst it's ever been.
3,700 Metro employees, represented by Unifor, are now in week 3 of the strike.
I have 3 kids, single mom, and can't afford the groceries here, so it's been really difficult.
And she's not the only one who can't afford groceries at her own store.
The wages that we're getting here, it's not even enough to cover just basic needs. You either pay the rent or you buy groceries. It's really awful, honestly.
Many of the workers saying just a little would go a long way.
During the pandemic, they gave us that extra $2 hero pay, and they swiftly took it away. And that is what a lot of us are fighting for, because it's been clearly shown they can afford it.
Earlier this week, Metro reported $347 million in gross profits over the last quarter, a jump of 26% year over year.
In a way, it's really insulting because we're essential workers. All of us here are literally the backbone of the grocery store, and they're making record profits. What's happening to us? We can barely afford to scrape by.
But it's not quite that simple, says this expert, with many businesses preparing for a downturn.
They look at 2024, 2025, they see the economic prospects that are getting a bit dimmer.
McMahon says while there's been less competition between grocery chains, they're still bracing for next year.
Businesses, on average, are looking to hire less. They're looking to hike wages less. They think that their sales will be less than they are right now. At least the growth rate of sales would be slowing down quite a bit.
Still, he says, with such a tight labor market, workers are in a good position to bargain. And others say we could see similar strikes.
All the other sector where people have low wages, you'll see the same behavior, the same expectation to have a clear increase of their working conditions.
Metro told CBC Toronto it's committed to the bargaining process and hopes for a resolution as soon as possible, while Unifor says more than 11,000 of its members will be negotiating with other chains like Loblaw, Metro, and Sobeys in upcoming contract talks, meaning these workers could soon have company.
We're not backing down, and we will fight until we get what we deserve.
Patrick Swadden, CBC News, Toronto.
Toronto's new Planning and Housing Committee has a massive task ahead of it, delivering on Olivia Chow's campaign promise of building 25,000 rent-controlled homes over the next 8 years. Mayor Chow says when it comes to priorities, she has 3 things in mind.
First thing is let's speed up the process of approving housing. Let's look at the density. Let's look at all the lands that we have. And let's look at all the contracts that is already made with the private sector developer. Let's get it going.
The Housing Committee is chaired by Councillor Gord Perks. The vice chair is a former political rival of Chow's in the mayoral by-election, Brad Bradford. We spoke to one affordable housing advocate who says he hopes the committee learns from previous mistakes.
I think lessons have been learned between 2019 and today, and Mayor Chow and her Planning and Housing Committee hopefully have learned those lessons and will adapt and be nimble and be more action-oriented and less process-oriented in order to get these projects across the finish line faster.
One of the broader goals of the new Housing Committee, helping the city achieve the target of building 285,000 homes by a half century of hip-hop. That is what the music world is celebrating this week. And the main event took place in New York City last night. Chris Reyes takes a look at how hip-hop started and how far it's come.
On a massive stage at Yankee Stadium, some of the biggest names in hip-hop gathered Friday night to celebrate the music, the movement's 50th birthday. Legends and today's masters. The concert lasted more than 7 hours. This grandiosity a long way from where it all started.
This is the birthplace, the Big Bang, 1520 right here.
Inside this building at a back-to-school party in the Bronx, New York, hosted by DJ Kool Herc. The date, August 11, 1973, now widely considered as hip-hop's birthday. That one gathering would grow into a global phenomenon with its distinct beats, rhymes, culture, style, dance moves.
In a very real way, hip-hop for the last 50 years has been and still holds the archive of the official histories of the United States. And as it's gone to other countries, I believe that people have been using it as a way to tell the unofficial histories there too.
So New York City has been marking the 50th anniversary of hip hop all year. Yesterday was a big celebration day, but today there are events happening all over the city, including right here at the Lincoln Center.
These young students of hip-hop and their mentors shared what the music means to them.
The 50th year of hip-hop, it means so much to me, like a lot. Like, it means just supporting, showing love to all the old school artists that started it, that started this cultural community.
Hip-hop has been such a big staple of my life. I would not be a professor, an academic, a thinker, a scholar, a writer if there were no hip-hop. And to have the opportunity to be able to celebrate the culture and to contribute to it in some way is the most life-affirming thing possible.
On this day, a celebration of all that hip-hop has accomplished.
We're not just here to memorialize hip-hop.
And a declaration that it's here to stay.
50 years, that's good, but we're here for the next 50 years.
Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
Someone in the province might just be $55 million richer. OLG says a winning ticket in the Lotto Max draw on Friday was sold in Ottawa. The company says people who bought tickets should check them as soon as possible. Earlier this week, OLG announced a winning $70 million ticket that was sold last year has officially gone unclaimed after the winner never came forward. Welcome back. It is a peer mentorship program targeted at Black and racialized girls, and today it launched for the first time. Look Up, Lift Up is being offered through the Jean Augustine Center for Young Women's Empowerment. The CBC's Kirtan Asasyatheran was there as some of the young women met their mentors for the first time.
The one-on-one connections could look like...
Inside the Jean Augustine Center in Etobicoke, these young girls are waiting to meet their new mentors for the first time. It's all a part of a program that helps girls between the ages of 7 and 17 connect with women from their community.
As we saw during the pandemic, there was a big impact on women and girls. Additionally, there were impacts on those with other intersectionalities, those of Black, racialized, and underserved communities. So we wanted to respond to that and really ensure that these communities feel supported.
Every week, the mentors and mentees will meet and participate in field trips and workshops over the course of the 6-month program.
And so we're all excited about today.
For Jean Augustine, she hopes the young women gain more than just someone to lean on.
We saw the need to assist young women in this area and to involve them in community development, involve them in lifestyle and things that would empower them.
Me and my mentor definitely clicked almost immediately.
Kiana Dennis says she's excited about being paired up with her mentor. She's getting ready to apply for part-time jobs and is looking for someone to learn from.
I think a mentor, just someone who I can look up to, who I can ask questions, someone who's had plenty of experience making a lot of mistakes, just help me to answer a lot of the questions that I will be having to face sooner or later in the future.
Kiana's mentor, Melissa McKay, a school teacher, says she's excited about the prospect of giving back.
And so it's important to me seeing myself in the girls and knowing what I needed and wanting to give that back as well. I hope to just be a positive influence, and it helps me keep myself accountable.
This is the organization's first cohort. They say they're still looking for mentors to join their program, especially as the popularity of the initiative continues to grow. Kirtan Asasi there in CBC News, Toronto.
Love to see those connections being formed. We will check in
Girl
now.
power.
Of course, right? Sophia Kambalia joins us for a look at the forecast. Sophia, we saw those girls were indoors today. Pretty nice day to be indoors, given the sort of strange mix of weather we've been seeing.
Yeah, it has been a very active day, to say the least. Let's take you through it in pictures, shall we? It was around the breakfast hour where a possible tornado may have come through the Caledonia-Hamilton area. Some damage being reported there. Around the lunch hour, more storms popped up around the Huron shores. Just wait for it. Just beyond the site of this paddle border, a possible water gustnado, basically a weak tornado that forms on the water. The same storms that forced the evacuations of many, as we mentioned earlier, of the Boots and Heart Music Festival, and the same storms that created hail that looks like this. Unbelievable, like a hamburger patty in your hand there. Still some storms we are watching. That same system bringing a ton of lightning right now over the Prince Edward County region. Just moved through Belleville and around the Kingston area. It is weakening slightly and bowing out a little bit and moving into the water, but there is certainly the chance for more storms to pop up over the next few hours, especially as we head further north and east in that warm sector. Again, this was a lot of moisture from stateside, a lot of shear and upper level atmosphere support. Things died down into the overnight hours and you calmed down for Sunday, which is good news for people in the nation's capital region after receiving a ton of rainfall on Thursday. That was 75 millimeters in 3 hours on Thursday, but who's counting, right? Luckily, after what has been an incredibly stormy Saturday for many of your outdoor events, it is a really nice, stable week. I am knocking on wood for you. We will talk a little bit more tomorrow night in the show about this one rainy system that will come in as a big low-pressure system on Tuesday. But other than that, seasonal and lots of sunshine. You deserve it after today.
We sure do. Thanks so much, Sophia.
We'll see you tomorrow.
And that is our show for you today. Thank you so much for watching. But before we go, some astronomy enthusiasts call it one of the best meteor showers of the year, and it's happening tonight.
Firstly, this is one of the best meteor showers of the year. It's one of the most prolific ones. We can expect to see, if it's nice and clear, somewhere around 100 or 120 shooting stars every hour.
If you are hoping to catch the meteor shower tonight, Haggard says chances are best after 9 p.m. And if there's clear skies, he also suggests trying to stay as far removed from streetlights. The University of Waterloo will be hosting a Parade party tonight at 8:30 p.m.